My name is Metal, and I recently watched John Wick 3. I didn't like it. Before we talk about why, let me set the stage. John Wick starts shortly after the titular character's wife had passed away, and we get a quick look into the relationship they shared before and during her treatment. John is still mourning, and we see him wake up in an empty bed. He receives a package which was prepared by his wife to be delivered upon her death, and with it, a note assuring him that she is in a better place and he shouldn't mourn on his own. He opens the package and we see a puppy. A comforting path for John to find peace. They bond very quickly. Food, shelter, and comfort come naturally, and John is able to start moving on. The following day, John goes to fuel up his car. While there, he encounters 3 men. One of them wants to buy John's car. John isn't interested in selling and quickly leaves the station. That night, the men break into John's house, beat him bloody, steal his car, and kill his dog. John wakes up to find the puppy having been laid in front of him. John buries the dog and pursues the now stolen car. Aurelio, a car dealer, tells John that the car was taken by Josef Tarasov, Vigo's son. Vigo is essentially a Russian crime boss and the leader of the Tarasov mob, a powerful crime family. And after Vigo finds out that Aurelio punched Josef, he wants an explanation.
Because he stole John Wick's car, sir, and killed his dog.
Oh.
Soon after, John gets a call from Vigo. He tries to reason with him, but John isn't interested. It is at this point that the audience begin to understand who John Wick is, or at least who he was before we met him.
Well, John wasn't exactly the boogeyman. He was the one you sent to kill the fucking boogeyman.
John previously got out of this business by completing an impossible task for Vigo, and he would have stayed out if not for what happened. John begins to dig up his old life, and so begins what this franchise is now famous for. He spends the story fighting several individual assassins as well as groups of henchmen until he not only burns Vigo's assets and slaughters his men, he kills Josef and his friends, leading us to a finale where John engages in a fight to the death with his former boss. That's pretty cool. John eventually makes it out and he gets himself a new dog to recover some kind of peace once again. There are several characters, rules, and environments that are relevant to the story of John Wick that suffer in later installments, but I will address those as we cover them. The second film starts right away with John having to deal with Vigo's brother. Once that's over, an old friend of John's named Santino shows John a blood marker, meaning that John now has to complete a task for him as payment for an old favor. John reluctantly accepts and moves through the film, killing hundreds more men, only to be betrayed. Santino places a bounty on John. As a result, John enlists help from the hobo assassins and their hobo king.
Damn! It's Christmas. We're going to Applebee's after this.
Don't ask. By the end of the story, John is able to kill Santino, but he does so on continental grounds. This makes John excommunicado, and that means he cannot access any high table facilities. The high table then take ownership of his bounty, making it international and doubling the reward. Which brings us to John Wick 3, Parabellum. We see John enter a library after securing safety for his new dog. He collects a cross, a blood marker, and some coins. Unfortunately, John is attacked by an assassin who explains his actions by saying this.
Who's gonna know the difference?
You'd think with the amount of money John is worth and how many people seem to come after him, that more assassins would have been lining up around John for that very same reason, rather than just this Frankenstein motherfucker. The more important issue, however, is that this guy wants to attack John in the first place. Isn't that extremely risky for any assassin, since John is the best? Well, when writing these sorts of breakdowns, it's good to have the script handy. Let's have a look at how it's displayed.
You sure this is what you want to do?
14 million, it's a lot of money.
Not if you can't spend it.
Yeah, that's pretty much how all of the problems are dealt with in this film. Anyway, John gets injured and decides to go to the doctor we saw in John Wick 1, and already things are getting weird. He's initially declined service because time is almost up, only then he gives in, because I guess he really likes John. Neat. only to then stop sewing the wound at the time limit because of course he can't help John without breaking the rules. Only to then say that John has to shoot him because no one will believe he stopped on time. So then why stop on time? If you're going to be shot in order to cover up you helping him, then fucking help him instead of watching John do this.
One may not be enough.
What? I think the fact that you're alive at all is enough to make people suspicious. Not to mention that you will die from blood loss unless you have surgery done. Especially if those bullets are stuck in. Whatever, I'm sure he's fine. Wick then goes to a theater, which is apparently the home of a faction with the name Belarus. We discover that this is where John grew up as an orphan, and he presents the cross to the leader of this faction, demanding help.
You present this to me like an answer.
Initially, he has declined service because John is excommunicado. Only then she gives in, because I guess she really likes John. Neat. John is then provided passage to Casablanca, and we get introduced to the Adjudicator. She tells Winston he has 7 days to leave the Continental because someone was killed in his hotel, and the one who broke the rules wasn't killed immediately as Perkins was in the original film. She then tells the Hobo King he must abdicate his throne. What? For giving John a weapon that assisted in John acting against the High Table. These are all very interesting details. Over in Casablanca, John meets Sophia, the woman who owes him through the blood marker.
Like my nails, just got them done.
He's initially declined service because John is excommunicado, and blood debts don't mean shit at this point.
That marker doesn't mean shit.
Only then, she gives in, because I guess she really likes John. Neat. Next up we see the Adjudicator hire the sushi assassins in order to hunt and kill John and the people who assisted him. John meets with Bron.
There's no cure for being a cunt.
They all have a nice discussion and we find out that John is looking for the Elder. The fuck is happening? Apparently that's the guy who can make all this go away, the guy we have never heard of before. Okay. John has initially declined this information because he has broken the rules. Only then Bron gives in and tells him where to find the Elder because I guess he really likes John. Neat. Unfortunately, in exchange, he wants to adopt one of Sophia's dogs, and because she says no, he shoots one of them. Okay. So, like the bullet had the bulletproof vest that the dog clearly has, so it's all good. Bron doesn't notice this because he's a cunt, which gives our heroes the perfect out. They can leave now. No harm, no foul. Doggo even gets to live. Wait, what are you doing? Why? You guys are hideously outnumbered and you could have just left. Everything would have been... Oh. You guys won easily against like 100 dudes. You just... I don't... Anyway. The hint is essentially to walk at the edge of the desert following Canis Minor, a small constellation, until you sort of die. And then someone will pick you up. Okay. The Hobo Assassins are torn to shreds by the Sushi Assassins, and as punishment for his crimes, the Hobo King is cut 7 times for the 7 bullets he provided John. We're gonna come back to that shit. So, John goes on his desert-bound journey and it actually works. He's found by the Elder and given an opportunity to redeem himself in the eyes of the High Table. Though he is still excommunicado and the contract is still open until he completes his task of killing Winston and cutting off one of his own fingers. Why? John goes back to New York and bumps into the Sushi Assassins. He fights them all the way to the Continental, where he then talks to Winston. John decides to spare Winston, and together with the might of the Butler Assassins, they defend the Continental. The Continental is then deconsecrated by the Adjudicator, and a large team of Elder Assassins are sent in to kill John and Winston. The bad guys lose, because obviously. And then John has a private battle with the Sushi Assassins. The bad guys lose. Because, obviously. Well, actually, no, they spare John several times, so fuck everything. John then reaches the roof of the Continental, where Winston, the Butler King, and the Adjudicator await him. Winston and the Adjudicator reach an agreement, and Winston betrays John, shooting him, causing him to fall.
No, 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 no.
John Wick used to be good. John is then picked up by a hobo assassin and they bring him to the Hobo King. They seem to team up, leading us straight to the credits. This is a shit show, and before I rip into this movie, let's talk about some of the good shit. The setting itself is pretty unique. An underground assassin association that runs unknown to the common citizen while the normal life outside is just running as normal. You earn and spend specialized coins in order for other people to understand that you are eligible for their services, as they mostly operate in the cover of day-to-day establishments. It makes sense that they would have developed the means to trade through some kind of token, as not all assassins will be as well known as John Wick. They also equal as payment for the services or gear the assassins receive, which shows us that they have their own, relatively streamlined economy. There is lots of potential in this setting, a chance to have a well-realized universe populated by many different factions.
There are 12 seats at the high table. Camorra, Mafia, Ndrangheta, the Chinese, the Russian.
Factions that have function and influence in many areas of the world, despite all of them being subservient to the high table. Pieces of information that are peppered about a script like this could later work as fully fledged stories. Obviously, what they ended up doing with the Hobo tribe is not what I would call fleshing out. From what I can gather, they are some kind of information network that operate with pigeons? Regardless, this aspect can still be utilized well in the future, depending on the writing.
Mr. Wick doesn't remember, but we met many years ago, before my ascension.
We also have Belarus, the place John grew up in. They just kind of appear because the movie needed some way to provide John help. With the most benefit of the doubt, I could see them making some kind of prequel out of this. To see what has to happen to create someone like John Wick, to see the man he was before the legend. Again, it's got potential, and that will always be a reason for me to return to this franchise. I can hope that someone will make good use of it in the future. Besides, you always get some great cinematography in these movies too. The first film is a lot darker and grounded, giving off an atmosphere of this underground world meant for killing with class. We get some very deliberate lighting to separate the foreground for John and the world he is now re-entering, only to move into chaos in both the camera movement, the character movement, and the lighting itself. In fact, the use of lighting as a whole is striking in the film. Some scenes are shot nice and white for clarity, while others are close and calm for the disturbing intimacy of a kill. This sort of style carries over to the other films, but with a couple of noticeable changes. Some shots can be breathtaking in not only the delivery of information to the audience, but in the composition. A lot of work goes into these films in that aspect, and it's always something to appreciate. Then we have the action. Action that is essentially becoming influential and something of a staple for the series, as well as bleeding into the genre as a whole. I don't really know how to describe the changes in the action between the films outside of saying that it has become far more fantastical. The fights are getting more and more unrealistic, which is something many enjoy, and hell, I certainly enjoy. But it may be pushing the series into a different path than what it seemed to begin with. Regardless, it's pretty amazing in each of the movies. And so, the biggest pro of each film? Keanu Reeves is in it. I'm not really making a comment on his acting or his physicality in the role, despite those being very interesting topics. I'm just saying he's an awesome dude and I always like to see him. But with that said, I would like to deconstruct the movie piece by piece, starting with character. And who better to begin with than John Wick?
John is a man of focus, commitment, sheer will. I once saw him kill 3 men in a bar. With a pencil. With a fucking pencil.
Yeah, pretty much. Everyone knows who John Wick is, for the most part. His abilities and reputation for assassination precede any aspect of his actual presence. Recognizing that you may very well owe him is something of a horrifying realization, even for the most powerful men in the world. Despite carefully laid plans, despite tons of manpower, despite a moral conviction,
Baba Yaga. It was just a fucking car, just a fucking dog.
they fight and lose. It's pretty clear, or at least it was. Since the second film having been rolled out, everybody in the assassin world just openly attempts to kill John. Nobody is intimidated or even freaked out by the fact that their target is essentially the grim fucking Reaper. We see nothing in terms of anxiety or fear, even in one-on-one scenarios. In the second movie, by the time he gets his bounty, you see this assassin lady smile. The fuck are you smiling about? Did you see the name that bounty is connected to? I don't care if it's for millions, it's John fucking Wick. The super assassin, the guy who constantly completes impossible missions and murders everyone he encounters. Why in the world would you get anywhere near him? But if you do want to do it, if you want to commit to this, then why not come at him with a team? Aside from the sushi ninjas, people are just trying to assault him alone. And even then, they give John all the time in the world to react.
Made to live as brutes, but to follow virtue and knowledge. Dante.
Look at this. He didn't notice him before he started reading some damn Dante to him, and John didn't expect anyone to come at him before the timer ran out. You had a complete advantage over John and you threw it away for a cheeky line.
Dante.
You are a terrible assassin and now you're dead. I suppose that makes sense. To make things even worse, we have John Wick fanatics being used as villains. John Wick fanboy? It's frustrating, but not as frustrating as the levels of plot armor John has developed. In the first movie, he would survive based solely on his wits and accuracy. Now, he's invincible. The things he goes through in this movie are insane. We begin the movie with John having been hurt in the previous one. Then he is stabbed in the shoulder, run over by a car, twice, branded, shot multiple times in his bulletproof suit, which is not able to prevent all incoming damage.
0 penetration. However,
Quite painful, I'm afraid.
Dehydrated to near death in the desert with no sunburn because reality is not allowed in this story, has a finger chopped off, gets that cauterized. He's beaten up, shot several more times, thrown through 6 panes of glass for fuck's sake, and, for the grand finale, he jumps off the 6th floor of the Continental, crashing into a roof, a balcony, an awning, and finally, planting into the concrete floor. John Wick is a superhero now.
Here comes John Wick. The man can climb anything.
John Wick was quite the assassin during the events of the first film. Rusty but nothing short of masterful in his craft. He would commit to intense battles that take their toll on him. He would have to outsmart his opponents. He would use many elements of the world to benefit him. This tries to convince the audience that yes, he's one of, if not the greatest assassin who ever lived, but he was still human. He was bound by the mechanics of the weaponry he used, by the body he inhabits, and by the skill of the opponents he would face. Fast forward to the latest iteration, and his wounds are almost non-existent or temporary compared to the sheer damage he sustains. He should be dead. If he is going to perform in ways that break the universe he is a part of while receiving limited repercussions, he is no longer a talented assassin that worked extremely hard to reach his prestige. He is instead a plot-armored superhero that can achieve these wonders because, well, he's just John Wick, I guess. Gone are the days of John working extremely hard to win a fight. Now he just gets spared by people who are fans of his, the moment he may have lost. Speaking of what John works for, what did he actually do in this movie? He started out as excommunicado, lost a finger, used any and all remaining resources to please the High Table, is betrayed by Winston and ends the movie essentially being excommunicado still, but teamed up with the hobo assassins who suck donkey balls when it comes to fighting. Nothing really changed relative to how much usually does change in an entire movie anyway. This movie is the filler episode of the John Wick series. Regardless, let's keep moving. With the villains from the second movie being dead, we needed a new villain, the Adjudicator. She is here to judge all of the people who helped John fight against the High Table. She is cold, calculating, and I guess she's meant to represent how serious the High Table is. This is undercut by the fact that many characters do not take the High Table seriously and break its rules regularly, but she needs to be here, otherwise the audience would be downright confused. As if we weren't already when she pulled out the wrong gun, or at least the wrong prop. It's not the same gun, you stupid fuck! The more egregious issue I have with this character is her inconsistent method of punishment. She will tell the Hobo King he has 7 days to abdicate, but she will kill many of the Orphan Queen's men? This is despite the fact that the Orphan Queen simply helped him move John while Hobo King helped arm against the High Table. Will she even punish Halle Berry and her dogs? Surely after what they did to Braun, she's getting some hardcore punishment. Why was Winston spared? He was possibly one of the worst in terms of letting John go, and the High Table member was killed under his roof. The Adjudicator confronts the Orphan Queen and she tells her she was a bad, and Sushi Assassin Leader stabs her through her hands as a punishment. She has stigmata now. 4 reasons. If this was even close to a lucky result for the Orphan Queen, then first, why the fuck would she even agree to help John whatsoever if it meant the deaths of potentially everyone in her faction? And 2, why the fuck do we see no remorse from John that what he has done has fucked her over completely? This is the person who raised you? Fuck off! Everything to do with the factions and their punishments is very confusing, and the Adjudicator is essentially that process personified. She doesn't make a lot of sense. They wanted her to be cold and intimidating, while also fitting the aesthetics of the world that has already been shown to us. But she sort of just goes around enforcing rules we don't understand and coming to conclusions that seem to go against everything she previously believed in. The Hobo King straight up tells her to go fuck herself, the Orphan Queen acts kinda whatever when she arrives, and Winston just refuses to step down. As I said, confusing rules and nobody follows them. While in the first movie, there were very strict rules and mostly everybody followed them. If they didn't, there were clear repercussions. Let's talk about Winston. He is not very prominent in this movie, but we know that he's an old friend of John's while being the manager of the Continental. Winston gets 7 days to get his affairs sorted after his transgression, and he's what? Surprised?
Excuse me?
He's been serving the table for 40 years. Why does he not know the rules? We're left to assume he just sits around until John finally appears to kill him. Ultimately, they team up against the High Table as the Adjudicator sends in special units. At this point, we are left to assume he has essentially destroyed his life for John. Only he then shoots John in such a manner that everybody should think he's dead. I don't get it. There is a theory that this will be a part of a greater plan, like Winston and John have made a deal privately, and that the next set of movies will have John kill a bunch of the High Table with Winston and some kind of amazing betrayal from the inside in the finale, but fucking hell. How did you know this wouldn't kill him?
Sorry, Jonathan. Don't see any other way.
And if we're supposed to believe that he straight up betrayed John, then why the fuck didn't he just kill him in the second movie, for fuck's sake? It's garbage. Let's move on to the fucking Hobo King.
Let it be known that Bowery will honor the excommunicado.
The Hobo King seems pretty inconsistent too. He straight up refuses the Adjudicator only to then accept his punishment along with the massacre of his men. If only they had used the weapons they actually had. The punishment for helping Wick go against the High Table was 7 cuts. Was that 6? Honestly, I'm only counting 6.
With 7 cuts.
No, it's 6. Do it in slow-mo. They made a big deal about this being 7. Why would you... Fuck's sake. My criticisms for the Hobo King are collective of the second and third John Wick films. He's such a bizarre character. I have no idea what the hell his purpose is, or why he has any stake in any of this, or why the High Table take him so seriously. I'm sure he will be back in the fourth film, shooting guns and saying cool stuff. It's gotta be great.
Well, sometimes you gotta cut a motherfucker.
Shut the fuck up, I have more to say about this character. But perhaps I will save that for another time. Who's next?
That's why I'm sitting here right now, and that's why I'm fucked.
Right then. First thing I want to point out is that John received his amazing bulletproof tisms like what, a week ago? It was state of the art, top of the line, and she knows about it? Okay, that or she actually wanted to kill him for a few seconds, I guess.
Nice suit.
John reminds her that she cannot kill the bearer of her own marker, and she responds,
You're excommunicado, John. And that marker doesn't mean shit.
well, that was a blatant lie. Catwoman explicitly states that if she makes one mistake, makes one enemy, they could go searching for her daughter, and that is not a chance she can take. To strengthen her case, she goes onto this monologue that she tries to kill the part of her that wants to find her daughter, and she never wants John to tell her where she is, so she doesn't have the temptation to go get her. It's a relatively strong delivery for Halle Berry. The point is that her performance makes me believe she needs to be very careful. What the fuck are you doing? The dog is fine, you psycho.
You shot my dog.
I get it.
Nah, fuck off, movie. Not only does she fuck herself by teaming up with Mr. Excommunicado, she gets her daughter in trouble by making herself a person of interest in this whole plot. She also pisses the fuck off Mr. Bron High Table motherfucker right here. I don't understand. It's like these people make so many statements about who they are and what they do, only to fucking go back on it anyway. Let's hope the Adjudicator doesn't find out, I guess. Pfft, I'm sure it isn't likely, considering this is the place where the first assassin currency was minted and they left Bron alive. Nah, whatever, I still like her, I guess. No, she's a cunt.
Consequences.
Wait, hang on. Isn't the marker supposed to be recorded in some book or whatever? Would he even be able to write in said book if he was excommunicado? How the fuck does any of this work? If it was just blood, couldn't you just cut the person who you owed and then put your own thumb on the thing? What the fuck is all of this shit? I also want to highlight that she put so much effort into blaming him when she caused every last bit of the drama. She almost killed them both, yet it's his fault. John should have just found the guy on his own. The last character I want to address is Zero, the leader of the sushi assassins, hired by the Adjudicator to carry out the punishments she intends for the many different factions. Outside of him being a fan of John, we know he's talented and that's about it, leading him to be the final combat boss of the film, to the point that he nearly kills him several times.
Sir, put your weapon down.
Wait, where the fuck did Butler Man come from? Hang on, how do the rules apply to John when he's excommunicado? I thought they are allowed to kill people when they break rules.
He's excommunicado.
Unless you wish to become the same, I suggest you lower your gun.
What? You can't kill John on continental grounds, even if he's excommunicado? Meaning he cannot take advantage of any high table facilities? Does it mean John could hide out in any of these buildings? Or are people allowed to drag him out and kill him? If so, why not do that, Zero? What the fuck are the rules in this world? Why am I still complaining about the insanity of these rules? Look, either way it could work. The problem is that it's not really about the respect or admiration like we saw in previous films. He's a fanboy.
I'm a huge fan, John Wick. And so far you haven't disappointed.
Oh, and this shtick is present throughout the finale.
Lambat dia sekarang. Harusnya dia sudah pensiun 5 tahun lalu. Tapi tetap saja, John Wick.
Stop talking about him like he's a superhero, for fuck's sake. Zero's downright giddy to talk to him. He's wanted to meet him for a long time. This is the guy who has killed like 10 of you students. Do you not care at all? Well, I would say it's the opposite, in fact. Next time we see him is when he saves John and tells him that he will only be killed by his sword and runs off. Wasn't the whole point of bringing in the reinforcements to help Zero win?
We'll be sending some of our finest for additional support.
Cool. Very cool.
You killed the only fucking guy who had a shot at killing John, you turd. You had to be so lucky that none of the others came this close, like, oh, say, your own students. Were you gonna kill them? Didn't fucking look like it.
Only by my sword, John.
Sure, whatever. This character essentially confirms the problem that has been seeping onto the sequels for this franchise. Nobody's scared of John Wick anymore. He's practically just a meme. All of the sushi ninjas try to fight him without a second thought, just like each of the many assassins who keep trying to kill him. In order to facilitate a spectacle of fight after fight, we have to build this world that isn't fearful of John's abilities and his history. Instead, they all seem downright desperate to fight him. That is not how we started.
He was the one you sent to kill the fucking boogeyman.
I gotta tell you, I've been looking forward to meeting you for a long time.
That about does it for the characters, if you can call them that. Let's move on to the plot. It's trash. We start with John going to a library to get a hidden cross, a marker and some coins. But what happened to the other marker? Remember, he got one from Winston at the end of the previous film. This is a direct continuation. It's not like he went to the library, dropped it off, and then came back to the street to begin the film. Besides, that would be nonsensical. And they don't even look the same. I guess he has two now. Cool. But didn't John have to empty his pockets for the Orphan Queen? They go as far as taking his belt. Which is interesting, since they were concerned about him killing a person. I think his hands would be more than enough. Honestly, I think they just fucked this up. It's an attempt to push the plot despite having a method to do that already. Which leads me to sharing how anything happens in this world. John goes to some significant place. John asks the significant person at the significant place for assistance, citing something they owe him. John is declined for reasons not limited to the excommunicado. John emphasizes that they owe him, even if it's irrelevant now due to the excommunicado. John is assisted by the significant person. This method is not only extremely linear and monotonous, it invents random people, places, and important pieces of history for John Wick. On the fly. Whenever he's in danger, we can just invent some history to work with. Why not make use of Aurelio? Why not get John to a safe house that he set up for something like this? The plot is almost exclusively based on favors. Orphan Queen favors, Bronn favors, Hobo King favors, Concierge favors, Sushi King favors, High Table Desert Man favors, Old Doctor Man favors, and Catwoman favors. John isn't acquiring these resources himself. He relies on something we don't know about to do it for him. He doesn't fight for them. He only fights what comes as a result of either the excommunicado, which doesn't make a lot of sense in a world where he's supposed to be feared no matter the price, or other people's actions, like fighting the men's and after the concierge or the soldiers reacting to Catwoman. This is outside of the utterly ridiculous pieces of luck he gets throughout the plot. Like being told to walk in a desert until he nearly dies, following a constellation in order to meet the man above the table. The fuck is that? John would literally just die if he A. happened to walk in slightly the wrong direction, B. happened to be missed by these mysterious people, or C. happened to be too far gone before to pick him up. Can I remind you of this man's reputation?
John is a man of focus, commitment, sheer will.
Nah, mate. This is a man who wanders in the desert hoping someone will save him with all the refreshment of Catwoman's backwash. He could have easily died here and no one would have known. John has barely any control over his own journey. He's getting saved, avoiding guaranteed death and pulling favors out of his ass in order to stumble between action set pieces. And why is this all happening? Well, hopefully they can remind us.
I'll be alive, and I can remember her.
It's pathetic, trying to convince us it's about her, the dog, at this point.
All of this for what? Is a sabachke?
Fuck no. This is about a character that came out of nowhere, that forced him to do a bunch of stupid shit and has since been killed, leading to all of this other shit. Anyway, the Elder, dumb name, grants him his mercy. But only if he kills Winston. John seems surprised, but he agrees. He also has to give his ring finger to the Elder after cutting it off. I don't know why, shut up. The important thing to consider is that the bounty on John's head stays active as long as he hasn't killed Winston. This means that the sushi ninjas are still going to try and kill John. To clarify, the adjudicator who works for the High Table was sent to hire people to kill John as a result of him having broken the rules. John is then told to kill Winston by the High Table as penance for breaking the rules. As he attempts to complete this mission, he is attacked by the people who work for the High Table. That's a great system you got there, you fucking idiots. Anyway, John came all of this way to decline the High Table, which is what began this whole thing, and this is what convinced him.
Who do you wish to die as? The Baba Yaga, the last thing many men ever see, or as a man who loved and was loved by his wife?
How's this something that John hadn't thought about? And even still, how is he going to avoid being the Baba Yaga by killing the scores of people who come to kill him? It's just sad that John's worldview is shattered after 3 minutes with Winston. All he says is that John will serve the table for ages. But why would that be a surprise? That's part of the fucking agreement. John is getting a reprieve that no other person would ever get. I'm having a really tough time understanding why John would just go back on this after everything he went through. Why did John not realize what he was doing the second he was told to trade in his fucking wedding ring of all things? Like I said, we start the movie with John trying to escape the High Table and ends with them running from the High Table with the hobo assassins. Nothing in the world changed. The alignments are mostly the same and the only people who died were introduced in this movie. And unless they managed to reframe the events in this film with the sequel, nothing was achieved. This was filler disguised as spectacle. And speaking of the spectacle, I'm not one to say what is definitively right or wrong when it comes to choreography, direction or editing, but there are many elements I noticed during this movie that I can't help but highlight. First, there were many moments that John could die, but the assailant doesn't take the opportunity or they just behave like idiots in general. For example, a Frankenstein assassin chooses to warn John instead of killing him immediately.
Dante.
Remember how John was hit by the car and it did fuck all? Why aren't the assassins getting out of the car and start shooting him? Look at the dude John shoots while he is riding the horse. He crashes into a car as a result of what John does, but he wasn't slowing down. The piece of shit was going to crash anyway. How do you miss a car you're barreling toward? Honestly, if you look closely at a lot of fights through the film, you start to notice that people just seem to forget that they have 2 working arms when fighting John. The best example, I think, is this knife fight. At first, John locks up the guy's left arm with his left arm while trying to push a knife into his eye with his right, pushing against the guy's right. This makes sense. But then watch this. John moves his hand to hold the guy's head in place. This means that the guy's left arm is free and he's doing fucking nothing with it. They try and zoom in on this moment to help the audience forget how this would work logistically, and the gore factor will have you wincing before thinking, but fuck me, that's bad. Let's scoot over to the Casablanca shootout. How do John and Sophia manage to avoid being shot when they're in this level of an open area? There are dudes all over the place. There's so many that several are just casually standing around waiting to be killed. The fuck are you doing? One of them just gets bitten by a dog and is out of commission. No weapon, nothing. We then have this dude just looking at his friendo getting chewed the fuck out. He's not going to try and kill Sophia or the dog, I guess. We also have random dudes charging in with knives, which is an interesting choice during a shootout. Even the ones with guns will get extremely close to John for no reason at all. But hey, we get to watch some cool moves as a result, so there we are. When you start to stack these things up, it becomes rather frustrating. Like, how about the time where John is out of ammo for his pistol? Not to worry, the enemy is as well. What a coincidence. Oh, the other enemy is as well. What a coincidence. We see them all reload, and John is so much faster that he kills them both, plus a Randy who just happens to enter the scene a second too late. This is seriously retarded. Not only do we have the very unlikely scenario that 3 people run out of ammo at the same time, we have them all decide to have a standoff for a few seconds for no reason, where, if any of the baddies went to reload immediately, the scenario would have been quite different. We also have John shooting them in the order that they were going to become lethal first, and all of this is on top of no one else noticing the scenario play out and taking an easy shot on John. John is as lucky as the enemies are retarded in this movie. If this was the last few enemies, it would be less egregious, but the scene goes on. What is this guy doing? He was like knocked in the face, sure, but what the oh jeez, oh god, I've been hit, oh god, oh, I'm dead. So over to New York, we get something rather bothersome. The motorcycle chase scene. We get a baddie abandoning his bike to mount one of his mates so he can stab John with more ease, I assume. Which in itself is insane, but it also leads to this. What the fuck are you doing? Like, sure, the guy on that bike is dead, I think. But why engage in this? Imagine how wrong it could have gone, or who else it might have hit on his own fucking team. Hopefully you knew that guy was already dead. God forbid he was hanging on for dear life only for you to plow a fucking bike into him. What the fuck? What is this retarded shit? When we get to the Continental, we have the shootout scene with the high table soldiers. It is extremely selective when the soldiers get knocked over from bullets or barely feel them at all. Whenever John hits them, you can bet they will stagger, but when the butler assassins shoot them, it's like they don't give a fuck. It's not a distance thing, John does it from far away as well as close. Also, if the helmets are so protective, then how is it that the shots are coming through the other side when shot with the visor up? Is that a real thing, or is it just for the spectacle? Finishing the shootout, we move into the last couple of bosses. The sushi ninjas who knock John through glass 6 times in a goddamn row. How does anyone watch this without laughing by the last one at the very least? Like, there's a whole bunch of tism here. Ninja dude sorta rolls through the shot and then waits a bit before attacking while his friendo gets beaten up. It's weird. There's a bunch of supernatural ninja vanishes and reappearances that seem incredibly silly. Zero straight up vanishes into a lit panel of glass. You can't do that. It's not possible. It's just fucking glass. But hey, John does it too. At one point he disappears into what is a well-lit corner, as seen from another angle soon after. Also, sometimes those glass panels are bulletproof, but in other scenes they get sliced easily or people straight fall through them. John slowly walks to Zero, instead of rushing to press his advantage in this fight to the death. Zero just spares John's life several times in this battle. Just move the blade, Zero. Move it. Just push it to the side, you absolute tism. I guess the last thing is that there's a surprising amount of attention given to the art of the nut shot in this movie. John and a strong selection of the other characters in this movie, including the dogs, punch, kick, and bite the nuts of many of the bad guys. It's downright disturbing. I get that it's effective, but man, getting secondhand pain here, and on a more serious note, it's distracting as hell to see it so fucking much. And so, I think the discussion of nutshots brings us smoothly to my last bigger topic, John Wick's world building. When you go from the first to the third movie, you can tell they're really trying to flesh out the universe with different factions that have some sort of function in New York or outside of it. Where the first movie shines is in the simplicity of the universe. It allows the audience to assume a lot about the details of the functionality while leaving itself wide open for additional content. You only get to know what you need to know for the plot to run without a hitch. In the second movie, they start to flesh out the world, and we get introduced to the concept of the high table, blood markers, and, well, more things. Things that I may or may not make a video about in the future. But let's stay on topic. John Wick Chapter 3 brings us even more changes to the universe. Everyone involved with John, including himself, is being punished for going against the high table. That is interesting, considering that Santino is representative of that, and he's the one that ordered the execution on another member of the high table. Yes, He tried to frame John for it, but it would take a grade school lawyer looking at motivations along with Winston and Cassian's testimony to put that lie together. Which makes all of this strange. Who would be punished as going against the high table if two members tried to kill each other? And if John had killed Santino outside of the Continental, would he be free? Or hunted? Because it seems as though it was killing under a specific roof that was the problem, not the fact that it was against the high table in general. All John had to do is tell the high table people that he was forced to kill a member on Santino's orders through a blood marker, and that guy would be killed for sure, right? I get that he's super pissed, but wouldn't it have been more sensible to make John go, "How long do you think you can stay safe from me?" It would reinforce John's character as we understand it, a man who takes a lot of care when it comes to revenge. We know that John has the knowledge and capability to attack important elements to a person's finances and personal life. All he had to do was destroy Santino's life outside of the Continental like he did with Vigo. I just feel as though the high table have no fucking clue what's even happening. They make it up as they go along, and their intimidation levels are so thin that almost everyone seems to break the rules. Speaking of consistency, what about the coins? We saw it cost 12 to clean up 13 bodies, 1 to clean up 1 body. John gives 1 to the concierge as a tip, which makes a lot of sense because they are longtime friends and he frequents the Continental. And finally, 1 coin is spent for Harry to look after Perkins. Seems pretty reasonable so far. In the third movie, he pays a cab driver to bring his dog to the Continental with a coin. Okay, so getting someone to clean up corpses for you, getting intel, equipment for a mission and paying for it with coins makes a lot of sense to me. Even using it as a token to tell someone that you are in the know is understandable. But using it to pay normal things like a taxi guy to do you a favor is insane. Pay that shit with normal money, don't waste your super coins. It also just makes you wonder what the coins are actually worth. Sometimes you pay for weapons and armor with it, and other times you just use it to signal someone that you know about the special services available in whatever establishment you're currently in. I think they had the system fairly thin to begin with and have failed to flesh it out correctly before it's too late, and now whatever kind of rule you make for it will probably contradict something we have already seen. There's a strong pattern, as I mentioned before, of new, significant things being added to the world without any kind of substance. So many new factions with deep histories connecting to our protagonist, and we know fuck all about it, really. It's pretty terrible that for 2 movies we had a hobo clan and we know about a scene's web of history about them. Why do they exist? What are their goals? From what I understand, they are some kind of information gathering faction, but instead of the internet, they use a network of pigeons, which are probably sent around by all the hobos in the city who gather intel. The Hobo King calls it untraceable because they have no IPs and such. This shit is so stupid. For one, you can see the general direction the pigeons fly to, so that's fucked. Secondly, the hub of those pigeons is so open that you can see it from the bridge in the background. Thirdly, the assassins and the high table seem to be fully aware of this operation and its location. John gets in there pretty easily too. Also, side note, are there any real hobos in the fucking city? Do you get to join this clan if you become a hobo? Is it a part of your standard severance package that you get a free invite to the Hobo King's clan? If you want to build your universe, tell us about the people in it. Maybe we can rely on the 4th movie to fix up a lot of this shit. That's a great position to be in, isn't it? Rules are important, and in a fictional world, rules need to be respected, not broken. Otherwise, there will be consequences for an audience's enjoyment. Similarly, the rules of this world need to be followed by its characters, or they will have a bad fucking time. At least that's what we were led to believe. No killing on continental grounds. You can't kill or deny the holder of a marker, and the high table is above everything. This seems to be the set that makes up the world. We saw what happened to Perkins after she attacked John in the first movie. Unfortunately, the movie shows us that everyone is either insubordinate or incompetent. Or just plain stupid.
Dante.
After John kills someone in the Continental, he gets the benefit of getting an hour before he becomes excommunicado, only to then get a chance at undoing the severe breach of the rules. He also gets handed a marker from Winston. How helpful. Winston is asked to step down as punishment, but he's reinstated by the end of the movie. What a consequence. John gets help from the Orphan Queen and she gets punished for breaking the rules, amounting to something they can probably heal pretty quick over in a few weeks at most. What a consequence. The Hobo King broke some pretty harsh rules and he was cut down along with his men, only to survive and prepare a counterattack? What a consequence. And then there's Sophia, who rightfully said that his marker doesn't mean shit and gives us an even bigger reason to why she shouldn't bother helping John. But she does, and she causes the shootout, and she is almost exclusively responsible for allowing John the opportunity to get a second chance. Nothing fucking happens to her. What a consequence! Nothing seems to follow any kind of restriction or history anymore. It's all just made up and broken on the spot. You shouldn't be inventing new factions, rules, or plot devices just for the sake of it. They should be born out of things we already know, instead of giving us hobo, butler, sushi, ballerina, assassin factions flying around all over the place with some bullets and explosive for some good measure. John Wick 1 was a well-written story that housed a breakneck, well-shot action movie. John Wick 3 is a writing disaster that houses gratuitous violence and action for the sake of its own IP. This is one of the most classic examples of sequelitis, an infection that starts with a movie that broke some form of mold, only to be pressed and repeated again and again, losing its soul along the way. This one specifically negates itself. The stakes are no higher or lower outside of a friend maybe turning the tables on John, which is yet to be confirmed. All he lost was a finger, and once you know about these details, you could jump from John Wick 2 to 4 with no problem. And the worst of it is that John is more a superhero now than a man. You can be run over by 2 cars and fall down a fucking chasm, but get right up and move along. Combine that with a super suit and you have a bona fide Captain America. Only Cap almost died to bullet wounds, so... The realism factor is dead. The world building is bloated and dry. The action is getting hilarious and the characters are downright confusing. Again, I absolutely understand the appeal of these movies and why people like it so much, and I know for a fact that I'm in the minority on this one, but I think we really need to start separating what makes a good John Wick from a bad one. I kinda feel like they should have left it with the first movie. It was fucking great and it felt finished by the end credits. But money speaks louder than any of us, and I think we should expect the next one to be bigger, flashier, and better than any of the 3 before it. I suppose I may see you there, folks. Which brings us to the end. Thank you all so much for watching. It's been fun to dig into the finer details of a movie and see what makes it tick. I have found that a single watch through can almost give you an illusion of what was actually there, and unfortunately for John Wick, it didn't improve once processed. Let me know what you thought of in the video in the comments, and if enough people care, I might do one for John Wick 2. I'm not a fan of that one either. But feel free to request some stuff you think I could tackle, and I will consider it going forward. This is my first analytical video, and it's been a weird experience. It's all new to me. Any and all feedback is more than welcome. And I want to give a big thanks to Mahler for helping me out with the script and the editing. There's a lot of organizing to this whole thing, and that has been smoothed out with his experience, but yeah, thanks for watching, and I shall see you in the future.